Overall, I think this ride is super efficient. If you are Hey everyone, and welcome back on the channel. My name is Alex, and in today's video we are reviewing the Adidas Adizero Prime X Strung. This is sort of an update, not necessarily V2, but an update to the Prime X that released in June last year, in June 2021. We're almost 1.5 years later, and Adidas comes up with this version, which has a new upper, and I think a slightly revised midsole as well. We'll go into the details in a second, but before that, this shoe was sent to us by Top4Running. If you want to buy it, use code META, M-E-T-A, at top4running.com. It really helps us, so thanks a lot for using that discount code. Specs, we're looking at 292 grams. This is 4 grams heavier compared to the original Prime X in my size US 11 EU45. Not a big difference, 4 grams. And I think they come from the upper. Even if the midsole was revised, that weight difference is mostly due to the upper change. In terms of stack height, Adidas claims a 49.5 millimeters on their site, despite 50 being written here on the midsole, so it's quite funny. I have no idea, you know, if there's a typo on the website or if it's actually 49.5 and they just didn't change the writing on the midsole, but that's how it is. It's a nice catch by Tim from the Meta Endurance team. You saw him in the Prime X versus Adios Pro 3 video. If you haven't seen that one, go check here upper right hand corner. In terms of drop, 8.5 millimeters, that doesn't change, which gives us a 4-foot height of 41 millimeters. Illegal racing shoe for World Athletics sanctioned events and athletes competing under those rules. So you can run the Berlin Marathon with this shoe or any other World Athletics event. If you're not obliged to comply with those rules, there's absolutely no problem whatsoever, and we'll come back to that in the recommendation section. Width of the platform, it's surprisingly not super wide, especially here in the midfoot, as you can see, and that's absolutely not due to that cutout here. It's just the measurements were taken, so really here, and the midsole isn't super wide. Geometry score 31 for the Lightstrike Pro TPE based midsole, which is, I think, a slightly higher score than what you would anticipate given the ride of the shoe, which feels softer than that. But that's again comparing objective numbers with subjective feelings. Price point 280 euros to $80, which is more than the original Prime X by 30 euros, $30. The reason for that, I think, is mostly the price increase for the Adios Pro 3 going to 250. And so this was tricky to you know, keep the Prime X at 250 as well. However, as you know, Adidas often does sales and discounts on their website, and you can use code META on Top4Running if you want to get a discount on this shoe. In terms of upper, the Strung upper basically is an upper that is knitted by robots, and if my understanding is correct, 2 shoes from this model cannot have the exact same upper because it's basically done randomly by robots. They're going like with those stripes of material in all directions, and they have this material which is then cut and attached to the shoe as an upper. We tried to compare with the pair that Tim had for the shooting of the small clip that we did, and indeed they seem different, but you know, it's very hard based on 2 shoes to assume that all the shoes are different. But if it's done really randomly, then indeed, and I think the technology is quite nice. The upper feels better than the original version. I think against the foot it's a bit nicer. It is slightly more structured. Overall, I think it's a nice upgrade. However, I did the mistake not going half down like I did on the original Prime X. I should have gone half down on this one as well. The length would be on the limit, because this is, I think, the good length, but the upper here in the forefoot is really coming with a lot of volume and creating some creases. I think that would be avoided going half down on the shoe, and that would be my recommendation. True to size for those of you who don't necessarily want to have issues lengthwise, half down if you think this shoe will not go past, you know, 10-15 miles, 20-25 kilometers on your runs. If you're not racing a marathon with this shoe and you don't have any issues with your toes bumping here in the front, I would go half down. But the upper overall is a good upgrade. The tongue is not that weird thing that we had on the original one. This is a proper tongue, not necessarily of my liking. It lacks a bit of padding, but okay, you know, that's fine. You have that funny little thing which I thought was funny, and in the end it's really helpful to put the shoes on. So I like that little tab here. The bolsters are also with a different material here compared to the original. That sort of nice, comfortable and more pleasant type of material compared to the plasticky thing that we had on the original version. As you can see, the heel is really pliable and it pops the tab out when you do that. And the insole is removable. It's a bit glued in, but it's removable. Midsole and ride 50 millimeters or 49.5 gives you plenty of deep cushion, and you can really feel it. This compresses a lot, which is really pleasant. Overall, I think this ride is super efficient. If you are a heel to midfoot striker and you tend to use the full capacity of rolling on the shoe and the full technology that it offers, remember a plate in the heel, energy rods, and on top of that, 3 little plates that you can see here through the outsole. So lots of reinforcements and plates and ways to make this shoe not that mushy ride that it would have been with the stack height and the durability score of the Lightstrike Pro, but something way more efficient. It's not necessarily a super aggressive rocker compared to Adidas Pro 3, but it has a big rocker, and really if you use the full length of the midsole and you roll nicely, it's a very efficient ride, and it's a ride that I would personally like to use on longer distances, like on a marathon that doesn't have too much curves and too much, you know, turnarounds, because this shoe is not super stable at all in tight corners. It's a very stable shoe if you go straight, and this is what I call my canal shoe, because I like running with this shoe on the canal here in Brussels. Straight lines, and you just, you know, go tempo pace and like a train basically that doesn't have any like tight corners. As soon as the course gets a bit tricky, this is not the shoe for the day. All the drawback is that the stability decreases at slower paces. So basically it is a stable shoe in straight lines at faster paces. At slower paces, it feels a bit unstable, and walking with the shoe does not feel stable at all. If you were to try it in a shop and just walking in it, do not worry, it will get more stable when you pick up the pace during your run. Nothing to say about the Continental rubber. It is a good rubber. It is one of the good rubbers out there. So just, you know, absolutely fine. And on the other shoe that I have, the original Prime X, which is somewhere there and has close to 400 kilometers, because I really like this shoe and I really used it a lot in the last 18 months. The wear and tear are absolutely fine after that distance, and this shoe can go past 600-700 kilometers without any issue. Recommendations: I would love to race a marathon someday in this shoe. Adidas, if you wanna do something with that, let's go. We can certainly do a nice try on a marathon with this shoe. I would love to. And again, I am not sanctioned by World Athletics rules. I don't have to comply with them, so I do not care. I do not mind running with a shoe that is 50 millimeters in heel. To the contrary, I think that would really save me some watts and some energy, and thanks to the efficient ride of this shoe, I would have fresher legs in the last 10 kilometers of the marathon distance. Overall, it's a very nice update. It's a very nice shoe. The price point is a bit on the limit for me, and I would recommend to get it with a discount if you can, but absolutely fan of this ride, and I highly recommend you to try it if you haven't yet. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this review. Enjoy your run today, enjoy your rides, and go beyond your limits. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.